Oh my goodness. I can't believe I'm sitting across from you, Kute. This is incredible. Thank you for joining me today for this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, you're amazing. I recently learned about you at the Align conference in San Antonio just a short while ago. So ever since then, I've been following you, learning about you. We both have such an appreciation for the art of manifestation and the magic of surrender. And this is what I strive to bring in the fertility space. And so I'm just so excited
Wow.
to
Let's
be
talk
here with
about that.
you. Yeah.
Cool.
Have you ever had a talk on a fertility podcast?
It's my first fertility podcast. So I
Okay.
think it's my
Wow.
first.
Well,
So
this is
I'm
an
happy to get
honor.
into all things around
Oh my
that
goodness.
and wherever you want to take
Yeah,
this.
I just think a lot of people have questions about this, you know. I mean, we're going to dive into it, but
Let's
something
go
that you're
deep.
all about. You're here to awaken, to inspire people to access their inner freedom, to live authentically, fulfill their one true life. And I just love that about you. I mean, this is why we're here. Souls. You have a podcast called Soul Talk. And can you even just define like my podcast, Soulful IVF? It's like, what is a soul?
I think the soul is a manifested expression of the infinite.
Mm,
A manifested expression of the infinite. And so I think we are all souls and individualized expressions of the infinite that we incarnate into this human form. And as souls, we incarnate in order to learn, to grow, to evolve, to remember who we are. And so
yeah.
to me, life is a university for our soul's evolution. And life is the playground for our soul's exploration. And life is everyone and everything, and all of life is part of the curriculum for our souls to grow, to evolve, to realize and remember who and what we really are. And so I think that's why we incarnate into this human experience, and, to the parents we incarnate, to the nationality, the body, and all of it is a teaching. And I think we're kind of conditioned in the world to look at life very one-dimensionally, which is the goal line. This is what happens. This is who you are. Achieve this, do this, the level of results. But I think underneath the level of the what is a deeper level of the who and a deeper level of the soul line, the soul level of what is really happening. There's what is happening, achieved it, didn't achieve it, divorce, breakup, this, that, moved, achieved, success, failure. But underneath that is the sort of the lessons that our soul is seeking to learn through those experiences.
Yes.
And so I think when we expand our perception of what we are and who we are beyond just this physical ego, personality, body, and remember that we're souls, it gives us a different and deeper dimension and different relationship with life and a different understanding with life, different understanding, I think, even in terms of birthing and fertility and that whole journey. And so I think when we can see ourselves as souls, the perspective of life shifts in a very profound way. And our perception of success and failure shifts in a very profound way, because so much of how we define success in the modern world is the achievement of specific outcomes that we can see. But we often don't track the evolutionary learning and growth of our souls in the process of the pursuit and the achievement of those outcomes. And so to me, when you recognize you're a soul, you're as focused on who am I becoming? And am I learning the lessons for why I attracted this situation? Am I learning the lessons for why I attracted this relationship? Am I learning the lessons for why, I'm in this situation, why something is manifesting, why something's not manifesting? And I think when that's the case, then so long as you're learning, you're always growing, you're always evolving, regardless of the outcome, and that's to me what it is to live more from the soul.
Yeah, I love how you talk about, I caught one of your lives recently about we're all connected to this divine intelligence. And it is, you're right. Life is a university where we're here to learn, to grow, to evolve.
Yes.
Like we're constantly learning lessons if we choose to, right? If we choose to step into that.
And if we choose not to,
Yeah.
then I think we'll just experience situations and relationships and people that will force us to keep going through certain cycles until we learn those lessons. And so all lessons are repeated until learned, kind of like, if you're in grade 7 or what is it, grade 12, in order to go to university, you got to kind of master and learn certain lessons. If not, then you don't necessarily get to go to university. You get to manifest the next level. And so I think many times when things don't manifest for people in life, we push and we force and we judge ourselves and we get frustrated and we curse God and we feel disappointed, rather than stepping back and going, okay, if life is a university and I'm a soul, then what's really going on here? What is there for me to learn here? Either the thing I'm trying to manifest is not really aligned with me, or it's not timing, or there's certain lessons that my soul is still needing to learn where I'm at in order to become available to the manifestation that I'm envisioning, that I'm feeling, that I'm sensing. And so I think it changes things. But ultimately, you cannot escape the lesson. You cannot avoid the lesson. You can change your environment. You can change your relationship, but the lesson will go with you and the lesson will follow you, because the lesson is you, is what's inside of you. And so you take that with you regardless. So you might think I'm not going to learn the lesson.
Yeah.
Fine. But it will, the dynamics will manifest in another situation, another experience where you'll be confronted with the lesson again. It'll be like, again? Another person like this again? Another relationship because there's something we need to learn. So on some level, you don't have to learn the lesson, but the lesson will keep reoccurring and keep repeating until you do. And I think when we do, that's what unlocks the lock to the next level of manifestation. And if it's not the next level of manifestation, it might at least be the next level of peace around your situation.
Yeah, freedom. You talk about freedom, right? That's really what we're all kind of searching for.
Yes.
To be free.
Yes.
And the women that I support in the fertility space, they're all wanting to call in a baby, grow their family. And there's a lot of lessons that we're faced with, where we're confronted. Why do I need to go through fertility struggles? Why is it so hard when for so many people it can be so easy to call in a baby? And I'm all about taking an approach where we're being active participants.
Yes.
We are using our thoughts. We're tuning into our feelings. We're all the keys that you talk about in manifesting, really being the one to attract and call in these souls. Any thoughts that are coming through for you? Because I heard you speak and just there's so much I want to talk about. I took a lot of notes hearing you.
The thought that comes through, and I'll speak specifically around the fertility topic for a moment.
Okay.
Just that coming through to say is, yes, I think you can hold the vision, you can intend it, and the part that is in your control is to see yourself as a soul, to recognize that this being is another soul. And the part that is in your control is to at least do the mental, emotional, spiritual, internal, psychological inner work to remove those internal blockages within yourself that might be not fully available to this manifestation, to this experience. And sometimes it might be to go as deep and as far as saying, okay, even though I say I want it, what inside of me, even subconsciously, doesn't want this experience? What inside of me subconsciously is resisting? Maybe there's something that is actually resisting because I'm afraid that I'm going to, lose my independence, lose something, be my mother. And I think if you can heal and then look at the deeper subconscious internal blocks that might be counter to what you're saying and actually address them, like, I'm afraid, even though I'm doing all of this effort to become pregnant and bring in the child, deep down, there's an internal conflict because I'm afraid that I'm going to be my mother. And that is energetically blocking me in some way that I'm not seeing. So I think if you're able to do that work, the healing and the internal subconscious clearing, that can at least make you open and available. The other thing I would say is, yes, give 100% to the process. And the real process, this I don't want to say, I don't want this to come across strange. The real process is not whether you have a child or don't have a child. The real process is the journey that you're going to go on and who you're going to become to heal and access and develop into and awaken and cultivate the heart, the energetic frequency and state of becoming the mother, because you can embody the energy and the heart and mind of becoming the mother, regardless of whether you have a child or not. It is an inner alignment and connection to that dimension of yourself that we all have access to. And so becoming that energetic and resting into that energetic of mother within yourself, regardless of whether it happens or not, so that when you're pursuing that, then to not attach to the outcome, but attach to the growth and the evolution.
Yes.
Because the real goal isn't always the goal. The real goal is the journey and who you become. And that in the soul level of things is what's really important. And so the journey, the evolution, letting go of attachment. And I think in that, if you can say, yeah, I would love this, I'm going to do everything I can. But I'm also, I think something is so, like, the most powerful prayer that I think we can pray, intend as an affirmation is, universe, I ask for the highest good. I ask for the highest good. Because sometimes we want something, but it may not always be our life path. You know, everyone has a different life path. And so I think when we can say, okay, I would love this, and I ask for the highest good in this situation. When we align with the highest good and we open to the highest good, then we make ourselves available to grace, whatever that grace is. And in the moment, we may not always understand why things are a certain way. But I think if we can truly align with the highest good, when you've done your part, you can rest assured knowing that the highest good unfolds. And I think that's the biggest blessing. You know?
Oh my gosh. This is so good, Kute. I mean, just hearing you and the question you posed when I heard you first speak, am I open and available? Those are really two key qualities, being open and available so we can be led. And a lot of women, you know, this is a test. This can be a long, many years of challenges, wanting to conceive or calling a baby. And, you know, you said everything you've been through has been a part of the perfect preparation to fulfill your purpose, that you have been prepared. And I was sitting with that, like, you know, for anyone listening, just you're tested and you're tried again and again. And it's like, you're right. It's who can we become in the process? We want this to all work out, but we don't have confirmation that in the end, we're going to have a baby, but there are many ways to become a mother.
Yes. Yes.
And our path can often be revealed to us.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things.
So I would say, like, don't wait. Start cultivating the essence of mother, the essence of that mother frequency, energy, embodiment within yourself as a beingness. Awaken that within yourself now, regardless of baby or not baby. You know, because that's a state of being.
You're right.
You know, it's a state, it's an energetic frequency within yourself that is there, it's accessible. And I think the more you can cultivate that within yourself, the more available you become, you know, regardless of what happens, you know.
And those, you know, who are listening, it's like they have this vision to call in a child. So you pose this question, are you ready to say yes to the vision that is seeking to express through you? You know, it's such a wonderful way of looking at it, because these sweet souls, we had one embryo holding on for us. I know you don't know our story, but it was just a lot of, you know, heartbreak and heartache, but trusting in the unfolding of all of this, that our one healthy embryo, this potential, this possibility, and how is I going to step into this and show up, you know, fully available, fully open, trusting in the unknown. I just love that you talk about that, really listening to your soul's calling. If it's a desire to be a mom, to be a mother, like allow yourself to have your vision come to you too.
Yeah. 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 You know, and this might sound strange, but just to add another dimension is also to sit with, like, the desire to be a mother. It is the desire to be a mother your desire? Is the desire to be a mother your authentic desire? Not that it's not, you know, but also sitting with that, like, because sometimes I know women that have realized, oh, this desire is not even really mine. It's my mother's, it's society's, it's, you know, it's just, I'm going down a track. And so maybe the process might reveal to you, oh, this manifestation is not what I really want, and I can express it a different way. And so, because not everyone should be a mother, you know, not everyone should be a mother. And so I think just taking off the societal pressures and expectations, just taking that off, so that you can find your truth, you know, whatever is authentic for you. And just trusting that, you know, which is not always easy, right? It's not always easy. But I always say, like, you cannot, I'll change my words, but you cannot screw up God's plan for your life. You know, you're not that powerful. So in the deeper sense, things are going to unfold how they unfold, you know, and they're going to unfold how they need to unfold, if you're available and if you're open.
And to get to that place of trusting in the unfolding, would you say the art of the magic of surrendering is really a key part of that?
Is the key.
I heard your recent podcast episode. Everyone needs to go check it out on Soul Talk. It was so good. Oh my gosh. So really breaking it down for people, the art of manifestation. And you talk about, you get what you are.
Yep.
For some people, that can be a hard truth, you know?
You know, there's this, I don't think I spoke about this on the podcast. Maybe I did, but there's 3 pillars of life. I forget if I did, so remind me if I did.
Okay.
But I think, because it kind of connects to what you're saying and maybe what women are going through. It's like, the first pillar is destiny and karma, right? And everyone has a different destiny, and everyone has a different karma. And so we're born into, when we incarnate, we are born into an energetic stream of momentum based on our parents, based on our grandparents, based on generations of our lineage, right? That has been living and unresolved stuff from our lineage. So we're born into an energetic stream of momentum based on our parents' financial, social, economic status. You know, Bill Gates's kid is going to have a slightly different karmic, energetic destiny than someone in a favela, right? That doesn't mean one is better or worse. It just means, you know, your dad can buy you a $50 million apartment. And so the energetic, sort of the karmic destiny line is what we all have. So we all have a different destiny, a different karma, and a trajectory that is a stream of momentum that flows. Now, does that mean you're just stuck? Does that mean it just is what it is? Does that mean, you know, no, because I believe that when you shift your karma, and by doing the inner work, when you shift your inner energy, is really what I mean by karma. When you
Mhm.
shift that, then that moves you into also a different destiny. Like
Yes.
I had a woman who came to my event in Bali. She came to my event and
Mhm.
she was told, she saw doctors in Hong Kong, she saw doctors all around the world for 7 years and was told she could not have children. Flat out, you cannot have children.
Mhm. Mhm.
Give up. She came to my event, did the internal work,
Yeah.
like 12 days, deep internal healing.
Mm.
That was really about shifting her programming,
Yeah.
shifting all the sort of patterning from her lineage and grandparents, and let's say shifting the
Wow.
karmic, energetic
Yeah.
lineage of her grandparents that completely shifted her to the point where you could say her destiny shifted.
Yeah.
And what was incredible that I want people to know is when you shift yourself, do the work, you shift your destiny, that can shift your destiny line. So for
Mhm.
her, a year later, she emails me and says, we have a 3-month-old,
Wow.
which was like, wow.
Yeah.
So so just because something is a certain way or you're told something or this is your destiny doesn't mean you're stuck on that trajectory. It is a momentum of energy that the second pillar is your effort and your will.
Mm.
And so by doing your effort, by putting in the effort with your intention, your will, your commitment, and your work,
Yeah.
you can heal and transform and shift and develop the skills and the mindset and the heart set and all of these things to move yourself into a different level. And so I use a sports analogy. I look at like Novak Djokovic, the tennis player.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if he's the most skilled tennis player. I think he's skilled, but like people like Nadal and Federer have a natural skill. But Djokovic maximized his pillar two, which is
Mm.
willpower and effort and discipline and work ethic, like to the max. That enabled him to shift his destiny and maximize his
Mm.
destiny to also the max. But he may not have come in with the most naturally gifted, tennis ability. He had
Right.
some,
Right.
but his discipline willpower is, let's say, the maximum level that
Yeah.
shifted the destiny to that highest level. And when those two come together, changes everything. So you have, let's say, 33% your destiny karma,
Mhm.
33% your effort, your commitment, your willpower, and then 33% we could say is your environment. Your
Mm.
environment being
Mm.
your location, where you live, the feng shui of
Um,
your house, the things in your house, because all of these spatial visual things are imprinting into your subconscious
mm.
messages.
You're
If you're
right.
going into your house, is it in your space, in your environment, is it imprinting into your subconscious the possibility of what you want, the possibility of birth, the possibility of the soul, the possibility of the thing you want to manifest? Is it imprinting or is it sort of conditioning you? Like I give it an example. I had someone who said, could I really want to manifest my soulmate, but I'm not manifesting my soulmate? Tangible example. And so many things in her house were actually communicating her ex and her old, the gifts
Mm.
on the wall, the
Mhm.
pictures that were up, the
Yeah.
sofa, the bed. So she was imprinting the
Right.
old, not even consciously realizing, so no, my ex gave me that bookshelf. Oh, my ex gave me that picture. No,
Oh,
so she wasn't even consciously aware that her environment was
yeah.
programming her
Mm.
not towards what she wanted, but towards what she didn't want. And so I kind of told her, get rid of everything in your space related to your ex. Get rid of
Mm.
the bed, get rid of the couch, get rid of
Mm.
all clear the space. So you want
Mm.
the energetic, vibratory structure of your life to support, to imprint and support on your conscious and your subconscious what you want. You want the space that
Mhm.
you are always in every day to be resonating with
Yeah.
what you want, images, visuals, feelings, colors, textures of what you want.
Ah,
So that you could say, I don't say you're programming, but you're priming the possibility of your
yeah.
openness to what you want on every level. You're surrendering, but then you're doing your work and your environment is supporting. And so those are some things I would say.
Oh gosh, so good. And I love you're talking about this, the energetics of our fertility path, because this is just what is lacking in the medical space. I trusted my doctor. I had a great clinic, all the things. There's the medical side I have great respect for, but it's like there's this whole other part of being an active participant on your fertility path where you get to, you're talking about empowerment, taking back your power.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I
where
think being open and non-attached. Like I'm open. I don't care what the doctors say. I'm open and I'm not attached. I'm going to do my part, but I'm not attached. And this is hard. I think this is hard.
Yeah.
It's easier for me. It's easier for me to say it because I'm not living it, but I want to say it. Is I'm open, I'm available, I'm not attached, and I'm going to enjoy the process.
Yes. Yes.
You know, I'm not going to be like, I'm waiting for it to happen.
Right.
But I think if there's a way that we're talking energetics, can celebrate the process and enjoy the process with yourself or with your partner, and use the process as a celebration and an enjoyment, and not just a means to an end, but a journey and an end in and of itself, which is not easy. Which is not easy. You know, it's like, but I want but like, if this were it, let's enjoy this. If this was it, let's enjoy this. If this was like, let's find a way to enjoy this and let it bring you closer to yourself.
Yeah.
Let it bring you even more in love with your partner in this process. And if that's all you get, like, damn, this is amazing. Like I think the more you can cultivate that shifts your energy, and then you're open to possibilities, you know?
Yeah, you're hitting upon something huge. This is everything I talk about too, because it's like a lot of women stop living on their fertility.
That's the key.
They stop living, they postpone their joy, they stop doing things that light them up.
Yeah.
And it just like, this is the complete opposite energy that we want to bring. We want to be fully lit up. We want to be fully lit up, celebrating. You're right. Like all the different milestones.
You want that
along
soul,
the way.
that soul that's hanging out, you know, imagine a soul hanging out in whatever realm, you know, just sipping a smoothie up there going, okay, I'm going to go incarnate down on planet Earth. I'm going to play this game. Where should I go? Yeah, I'm going to, again, forgive me because I'm going to say something here that don't want to step on toes, but yeah, I'm going to go hang out. Oh, I think I'll go hang out with those depressed pair of parents over there versus, wow, you know, these folks seems just lit up and they're having fun and they're in love and they're enjoying and I want to go over there. And so again, that's kind of like not the best metaphor.
No,
right? So
I totally get you.
Forgive me, but if you see a soul that's like,
yeah,
I think I want to go to that experience. And so I think it's so important. Like with any manifestation, if you can, in the pursuit of your goal, you cultivate the happiness in the moment and cultivate the joy, not in the goal or the achievement, but the joy in the moment to moment to moment to moment. So you're not waiting for the manifestation to happen to cultivate the joy. The goal is the moment. The goal is the process. And that just frees you, you know, in an energetic way. It frees you. It creates an openness and availability, and there's no or there's less contraction.
Yes.
And I think that's super important.
You're talking about expansion, really. I mean, living in an expansive, lit up place, having more fun. How can we have more fun on our fertility path? That's something I'm
not easy.
I deeply care about. Exactly. No, I mean, IVF is incredibly challenging. I've lived it. It's very hard, yet how we decide to define it is in our control. And like, I have a mantra that I used. It was always expect something wonderful to happen. I was in that mindset of expecting good things to come and living life and celebrating along the way. So everything you're talking about is so, so key. And a lot of people say like, okay, so how do you detach? And would you say it's a choice? Like, how would you tell someone? It's like, I want to detach. I want to let go, but
It's not easy, right?
Yeah.
Let's acknowledge it's not easy,
Hmm.
you know. But I think you have to realize that there's certain things that are in your control,
Yeah.
and there's certain things that really are not in your control.
Yeah.
It's like if you were to get on a plane and fly from LA to Tahiti, and you got on the plane, you sat down, and you're like, shit, how are we going to get to Tahiti? And you're like, let me knock on the door of the pilot and just like, hey, who's in there? Do you know how to fly this?
Yeah.
I mean, once the plane takes off, we could
Yeah.
say, well, you got to realize what's in your control and what's not in your control,
Yeah.
because you're not in control of this plane. It's
Hmm.
going, but what you are in control over is, well, uh, how you recline your seats and which
Oh,
movie you watch and what foods you eat, right? And whether you wear your
yeah.
socks or put on slippers and how many blankets you use. So there's certain things that are in your control, but you flying that plane, it's not even your control whether you get off the plane or not off the plane, because once the plane takes off, you can't just say to the flight attendant, I like to get off now. Unless there's a crazy emergency, it's
Yeah.
going. It's
Yeah.
going. And so I think we really have to look at and make peace with what is in my control, what is not in my control.
Hmm.
Take a hard look at that and make peace. Because if you try, sounds obvious, but if you try to control what's not in your control, you will suffer.
Yeah, you're right.
You will suffer. And that will affect your energy. That will affect your
Hmm.
biochemistry. That will affect your physiology. It will
Yeah.
affect it will create more stress inside of you. And stress,
Hmm.
even on a biological level, I'm sure won't enhance your capacity in terms of the fertility process, right?
Yeah.
So I think looking at it also as a spiritual process,
Yes. Yes.
like this is not just, it's a spiritual process.
Yeah.
Regardless, it's a spiritual process. And I think looking at what's in your control, looking at what's not in your control, and really just making peace with that
Mm.
is a key thing.
When I heard you speak, you talked a lot about we're always being guided. And that's something my mom taught me at a young age. And she passed 5 years ago, is a huge part of the mindset of how I was able to get through hard things and still continue to this day. I mean, she would be just in awe of me sitting with you right now having this conversation. Like, um, and just your remarkable life, like what you've lived through. And you were born in Ghana in West Africa. Your mom was Japanese, right? And you've lived
Yep.
in 4 different continents.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just, when I heard you speak about your story, like it was so incredible, like how you really let life move through you and be led. And you had this vision when you were 8 years old, like I'm going to be speaking to audiences around the world one day, like really setting that intention, giving it attention, and look at where you are. I mean, you're proof that you're truly like living in flow.
It works. I mean, I'm proof that if
Mm.
you follow your soul, this is the key.
Mm.
I want people to know that if you truly follow your soul, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't add up, even if no one understands, even if you have no idea what you're doing and where you're going, if you follow that true internal guidance without compromise, you will always end up in the right place. Maybe not where
Mm.
you expect, right?
Mhm.
Maybe not where you thought, maybe not what you thought you
Yeah.
wanted, but you'll end up in the right place. This I can promise. You'll end up in the right place. And maybe what you thought and the reason you thought you were pursuing a goal was not the reason.
Mm.
Because sometimes goals are evolutionary. And you have a goal, you're given a goal, you think, oh, this is the goal. But the goal wasn't a goal. It was just like a spiritual evolutionary carrot that made you chase it so that you could go down that hole, that
Mm.
road, and evolve and learn and grow. And so if you realize that, you realize, oh, the goal is not the goal. The goal is the evolutionary invitation for me to grow more than anything. And so if you just follow that, you'll
Yeah.
be guided in ways that
Mm.
you cannot imagine. And then there might be moments where what you thought what you were so sure was not.
Mm.
And then what you were so sure wasn't ended up being. And that's kind of like the detaching. Like I remember when, without sharing the whole story, because it will take another podcast, but I remember before I met my wife, I was in a place where I fell in love with a woman. I was so sure she was the one. And I'm like, this is the one. I went all in, like I'm all in, you know, and the stars aligned, and I was like, this is it. And I was so sure. Story goes, as you can imagine, it turned out not to be. And she wasn't ready. And I realized that. So I was like, this is not working. And so after 6 months, we were done.
Okay.
I was devastated because I was like, how can something that I felt so sure about not be? How can something I saw the signs in the stars. I saw the clues, and how can it not be? And that made me surrender such a deep level. It's like I was so sure this was, and it's not. Like I don't know. I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
But that surrender made me open to the kind of woman that I really needed. Not what I thought, but that I really needed for my soul. And that's, years later I met my wife, and it wasn't how I thought I was going to meet her. It wasn't my typical ego type, but it was everything I needed. And there was an openness. And so when what you think isn't turns out to be, you then realize, wow, what do I know? There's a deeper intelligence that it's life that is unfolding things. And so I think if we can trust this, like, okay, life knows. Like there's an innate intelligence that knows what to do. If I do my part, right? I eat healthy, I exercise, I do all of my part, but there's an innate intelligence that knows what it's doing. Like if you cut your finger right now, you don't have to pray, you don't have to meditate, you don't have to do yoga, you don't have to do anything. It knows how to heal.
Right.
And so if there is an innate intelligence that knows what to do, if we can just provide the environment, there's an innate intelligence that also knows how to unfold my life, your life, our life in the highest way possible. But it's not always how we think. And so we have to let go of that. For me, I thought it was going to be this person, and it turned out to be this person. And yet this person, the woman, my wife now, turned out to be everything I really wanted and more.
Wow.
That I wasn't able to see. I'm like, of course. I'm like, shit, this is exactly what I wanted, but I just, my mind couldn't even articulate it, And so, yeah, I think that openness is key.
How many children do you have again?
One kid.
One. Okay.
One kid.
How old?
And again, it just happened. Like it wasn't, it just, I think when the energy aligns, just things just unfold. When things align, things unfold. 9 months. And so
9 months?
Yeah, 9 months old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. I know that.
It's a blessing. And what I will say is there was so much healing that I did throughout the years, 25 years. So much healing. And one of the, I think, last pieces of healing that I did with my father, a whole nother layer. When my mother passed away in 2017, I spoke to my mother. I spoke to her soul from the other side. And at least I thought I was speaking to her, I felt like I was speaking to my mom. And I asked my mother's soul, why did you die before my father? He's 10 years older than you. I was sure he would go first. And she told me, I died first to gift you the total and complete karmic healing with your father. Now, I was good. We were cool. I had forgiven. I'd done a lot of work and I'd forgiven my dad. But I understood what she meant. And in that moment, I dropped everything. You know, for me, it was like, well, my dad doesn't really call me. And so it takes two to have a relationship. And he should call. I dropped everything. I said, look, I love my dad. He's far from perfect. And so if I love my dad, I'm just going to love my dad. And I decided from 2017 that I would call my father every day until he died. And I was just going to love him. And I was going to do whatever it took to heal our relationship. And I began going to visit him. He was in Ghana. I'm in LA. 3 times a year, I'd go and visit him for 5 days and sit in a room and just be with him. And I dropped any expectation of him being different, any expectation on him giving me anything. And I'm just going to love him. And that loving began healing our relationship. That loving, because he was never really there for me in the way I wanted him to be there for me. But that loving shifted so much of our relationship. And there was just so much healing that happened. And when I see my son, who's kind of like, I don't say mini me, but he's his own being. But when I look at him, I'm like, he reminds me of myself when I was a kid. When I see my son today, he carries an energy and a vibratory frequency that I can see is the fulfillment of the lifetime of healing I've done. He is the physical manifestation of my healing. And so one thing I would say to people, and again, everyone's situation is different, is the patterns and the energies and the dynamics and the secrets and the traumas that aren't resolved get passed down energetically to the next generation. And so on this journey of fertility, if the only thing that happens is you do the work to clear and heal and shift yourself in the energy that's been passed down from generations, that is a profound gift. You will pass to the next generation. That's like real generational wealth. And that clears the space on a spiritual level for at least potentially, right? Because we're not in control. But that potentially clears the space for a soul to come into a new vibration and a new frequency. And so the greatest gift we can give our children is our own healing. Because when we heal ourselves, we heal our generations. And when we do what our generations couldn't do, we clear the space, which opens up the sort of spiritual, invisible vortex for a soul to gravitate to that new light energy. It's like, that feels clean. I want to go there, you know? And so we're kind of talking a bit intangible, right? Hope it's okay. But it's a sort of a spiritual, internal level of what people can do. And I really believe that if you do that, because sometimes people get caught up on the technical, the medical, which is good. It needs to be done. But don't forget the invisible, energetic, intangible realm that goes together. Because when you heal the toxicity and the addictions and the patterns in your generation, that creates a whole different vibration for the incarnation of a soul. That I think that elevated consciousness and vibration kind of pulls that soul into the physical. It's like these new souls want to incarnate into higher frequency and higher vibration. They're like, I want to incarnate into that. So when I think we can create that environment, it's the invitation, you know, underneath it all.
So powerful. This conversation, I could talk to you forever. I have loved this so much. Thank you.
Thank you so
for
much.
sharing part of your story. And this is rich. This is what I want people to tap into more, really, the energetics.
I felt the soul of my son for decades.
Wow.
And I see that I think the souls of our children inspire us from the other side. And in many ways, they're the ones guiding us from the other side. And so as you're on to everyone, I'm not on that fertility journey, but we're all on the journey of life. And I would just say, pray and tap in to the soul of your children and let them guide you. Many times we pray to our ancestors that came before us, but I would say pray and tap into the soul of those unborn children that also they're already here, they're already existing, and let them guide you and show you and lead you and help you heal and give you the courage, to let them guide you, because they will. And in many ways, my son was guiding me long before his birth.
Yeah. Thank you. This is so good.
Yeah.
Wow, you're incredible. I want everyone to check out your website. I'll include all the show notes and your 2 books, You Are the One and The Magic of Surrender.
Magic of Surrender. I'd love it, if possible, just to give an invitation and share about, twice a year, I think you may or not know about it, but twice a year I do an event in Bali. And I would say it's my most transformational, unique, and life-changing work. I've done this particular event for the last 13 years. Last year was actually going to be my last year doing this. And I was guided that 2024 would be my final year doing this event. So we're going to do 2. And the next one is July the 20th through the 31st. It's called Boundless Bliss, the Bali Breakthrough Experience. And I think it's one of the most transformational experiences on the planet. It's 12 days, an experiential seminar training without walls, where I use Bali as the healing backdrop, and we go deep. And so I would say, if you're somebody, you feel a calling to make a difference on the planet, if you are ready to heal and transform and clear generations of patterns, ready to connect with your soul and share your gifts with the world, this July the 20th through the 31st, join me. You can find out more. www.boundlessblissbali.com, boundlessblissbali.com. It's truly life-changing. And I'm thinking about it now. It's interesting. We've had a few people that have come to the Bali experience wanting to have kids, who tried to have kids, that I could tell that as they shifted and healed, it would clear something, and that would allow the kids to come through. There's about 3 that came to the Bali experience that I had that conversation with. And so I know it's real. And so if you feel a call, you can find out more at blissbali.com. And yes, my website, Kute Blackson, my book, The Magic of Surrender, Instagram, Kute Blackson.
Yeah, you're amazing. Thank you so much, Kute.